Hello, I'm City Manager Bernie Lynch, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the second episode of Key to the City, a series that explores how the City of Lowell provides the many services that you rely upon. Key to the City opens the doors to the various departments and takes you behind the scenes and below the surface to see how Lowell's infrastructure works. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the history and unique architecture of this impressive building that we know is Lowell City Hall. We're going to begin in the basement. We're going to work our way up to the clock tower, and along the way, we're going to stop in many of the departments that operate here in this magnificent building. This special program is brought to you with the support of the Lowell Telecommunications Corporation, and we thank them for their hard work and their efforts. Now please join us for Keys to the City number 2, City Hall, from the basement to the belfry. Let's start our tour.
Lowell's original City Hall was located at 222 Merrimack Street in what is now Enterprise Bank's headquarters. By the late 1800s, the city was booming and needed a larger facility, one that would reflect its standing as the center of the Industrial Revolution. City leaders established a City Hall Commission in 1888 to oversee development of a new City Hall. A design competition was held that resulted in 23 entries and 3 finalists. The third prize winner, the Lowell architectural firm of Merrill and Cutler, eventually received the commission. This project spanned the terms of 3 mayors, Charles D. Palmer, George W. Fifield, and John J. Pickman. City Hall might look quite different today had other options been chosen. The design contest produced several options, and fine-tuning resulted in low and high tower alternatives. Finally, the Lowell architectural firm of Merrill and Cutler's high tower design won out. Ground was broken on June 23, 1890. The cornerstone laid on October 11, 1890, and the finished building dedicated on October 14, 1893. The City Hall Commission had placed a $200,000 ceiling on the building's construction. The final cost was $361,000, including furniture and fixtures. The local press gave the building rave reviews. Today, Lowell is en fete, and there is substantial cause for its rejoicing. The magnificent structure of the City Hall, with its superb equipment and its ample conveniences, has been dedicated to the purpose of municipal government. Daily Citizen, October 14, 1893. No city in the Commonwealth, bar none, can boast a handsomer or more commanding city building than has this day been dedicated to the people of Lowell. Its fortress-like walls, its elegant design, and its lofty tower stand like a monument to the enterprise and progress of this prosperous city. Evening Star. Grand, gorgeous, massive in proportions, perfect in details, such is our new City Hall. Daily Sun. This central landmark is built of white Conway granite in the Richardsonian Romanesque style, popular style in the late 19th and early 20th centuries for public and institutional buildings. Named for influential Boston architect H.H. Richardson, other architects like Merrill and Cutler emulated his designs after his death in 1886. The building style is identified by rough-faced, square stone work, wide, rounded arches, and deeply recessed door and window openings. It is one of 3 imposing Richardsonian Romanesque structures built in Lowell in the 1890s. The other 2 are the Pollard Memorial Library to the rear of City Hall and the former Central Post Office built by the federal government at 89 Appleton Street. At the time of its dedication, it was noted that the new City Hall had handsome chambers for the City Council and School Board, and offices for the heads of all departments. The building also included 69 rooms besides vestibules, staircases, hall and corridors, 1 burglar-proof and 25 fireproof vaults for valuables and public records. In all, there is 39,000 square feet of office space, sufficient, it was noted at the time, for half a century. Legend has it that the carved stone faces that are visible around the facade are actually caricatures of the City Hall building commissioners. Stories have it that there were disputes between the commissioners and the builders, and that the stone carvers had a little fun at the commissioners' expense. With a clock tower soaring 180 feet, Lowell City Hall is an imposing and impressive focal point that can be seen from all around the city. The view from within the tower is equally impressive, as we'll find out at the end of our tour. Let's begin our tour where all buildings begin, in the basement, and work our way up floor by floor to that iconic clock tower. It's here that the foundation and critical infrastructure begin. If you look closely, you can see some vestiges of long ago systems. As you can tell from the blackened walls, this entire area was the original coal storage room. Coal was delivered through openings in the granite ceiling and shoveled 24 hours a day into a massive furnace in the next room. Recently, a new state-of-the-art heating system was installed as part of an overall energy savings plan to make city officers not only more comfortable, but far more energy efficient. These units still vent through the original smokestack, which now has a special liner.
As we have our official ribbon cutting for the $21.1 million energy savings performance contract that we all refer to very fondly as the Amoresco project. I have in my notes here that it's an innovative strategy to address the long-standing infrastructure needs of the city in a cost-effective and energy-efficient manner. We're very proud of the fact, and we're going to really promote this on the fact that we're saving energy, we're doing what's right for the environment. But beyond that, this project allowed us to invest back into our infrastructure, into our facilities.
After 119 years, the original stone foundation remains rock solid. This small spiral staircase leads up to the ground floor and mirrors the larger staircase we'll climb to get to the clock tower later on. But first, we'll move up 1 story to the ground floor.
Recycle. 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 It's really important. It doesn't matter how small. That's a big rose bottle. Recycle.
This is where the Election and Census Commission and the Recreation offices, along with HR and Management Information Systems, are located. The Election and Census Commission manages all municipal, state, and federal elections within the city of Lowell. Commissioners also supervise voter registration and absentee ballots, maintain voter records, process nomination papers for candidates, initiatives, and referenda, and certify signatures on all nominations and petitions. After-school and summer programs include sports, arts and crafts, and enrichment are administered by the Recreation Office. A series of cave-like vaults continued to be used for safekeeping important documents. Also located at the bottom of the grand staircase is the snack bar. Offices in City Hall are organized around a horseshoe configuration. Materials used throughout the building include a detailed oak woodwork, stained glass, and cast iron railings. Entrances, the main lobby, and central staircase have marble floors. In addition to a new steam heat system for offices, a new hot air system has been installed. These original grates that once delivered coal-fueled hot air will now provide clean, energy-efficient heat and cool air to areas not covered by the primary systems. The main entry is flanked by two critical and very busy offices, clerk and treasurer. In addition to maintaining records of public meetings, staff in the clerk's office maintain vital records such as birth, death, marriage, and business certificates. As the official record keeper for the City of Lowell, the office of the city clerk is charged with maintaining records that date back to the 1830s. In 1836, Samuel A. Coburn was the city's first clerk. In 2011, Michael Geary became Lowell's latest official record keeper. The office also provides notary public and justice of the peace services and issues fishing and dog licenses. The treasurer's office maintains the city's financial records and processes tax and other payments. Looking back at the original photos of this office, it's easy to see its resemblance to a bank. This office includes both brick vaulted fireproof and steel vaults. The auditing office, down the hall from the treasurer's on the western wing, was originally the offices of the Water Department in 1893. This department is responsible for formulating and coordinating the city's accounting and auditing policies, procedures, and systems. The Office of the City Assessors is responsible for determining property values and is located at the end of the eastern wing. The office also processes abatement requests and over 800 property tax exemptions annually for senior citizens over the age of 70, widows and widowers, disabled veterans, and blind persons. The main lobby and grand staircase is a crossroad for staff and visitors and is used for ceremonial events and as background for wedding pictures. The Lowell quilt hanging at the first landing was created in 1979 by 30 quilters to celebrate Lowell's unique textile and ethnic history. We'll continue our tour with a stop by the mayor's office, which was originally the city solicitor's office on the second floor.
Hi, I'm Lowell Mayor Patrick Murphy, and I'd like to welcome you to City Hall. It's a magnificent building with great history, fascinating stories, and unique features. It is truly a Lowell landmark and an irreplaceable architectural treasure. As mayor, I'm reminded of that history as I sit in this office and review some of its historical artifacts, like this directory, which dates back to 1905 and includes signatures as famous as Alfred Hitchcock to Abbott and Costello. While I hope you enjoy the rest of your tour, please stop by to experience this historic building in person. And don't forget to add your name to my guest book.
Next door is the mayor's reception room, a fabulous space used for meetings, special events, and public receptions. Let's take a look. A focal point in this room is the fireplace. A work of art with its oak carvings, sculptured interior, and mirrored mantel. Across the room, a floor-to-ceiling portrait of George Washington sits in on every event. Recently, portraits of Lowell's earlier mayors were taken out of storage and displayed along this wall. Elisha Bartlett served as our first mayor from 1836 to 1837. And here is where the City Council meets every Tuesday evening. This room was originally the Board of Aldermen's chamber when Lowell had a bicameral form of government. What's now the Development Service area was then the Common Council chamber and is a mirror image of this room. The Board of Aldermen had 6 members the Common Council 24. Today, the City Council has 9 members, including the mayor. This room is also used for meetings of the Lowell School Committee, as well as Lowell's various boards and commissions. The stained glass used here and throughout the building was created by Phipps, Slocum and Company of Boston. The original chandelier can be lowered for bulb replacement and repaired by a hand winch in the attic. John A. Lowell, nephew of Francis Cabot Lowell, dominates this room with his larger-than-life portrait. Smaller photographs of all our mayor's portraits are displayed below the balcony and back wall. In 1944, Lowell changed its charter to a Plan E form of governance, with a city manager managing the affairs of the city and a 9-member city council establishing policy. Lowell's first city manager was John J. Flannery. Since then, 16 city managers have occupied these offices. What's now the manager's reception area began as the messenger's office, while the manager's corner office was originally the mayor's suite, with 2 doors leading into the mayor's reception room. The Alderman's Committee Room, adjacent to the current council chamber, has served several functions over the years and is now used for staff offices and the manager's conference room. These offices overlook Merrimack Street and the recently restored Cardinal O'Connell Park. On the opposite side of the building, the Development Services Office overlooked JFK Plaza. This room was originally the city's 24-member city council chamber and a mirror image of the current council chamber. The balcony has been closed off and is now part of the law office on the 3rd floor. Staff offices continue along this plaza side to the large room at the front of the building, which used to be used for public hearings. It now accommodates staff from the Conservation Commission, Planning, Zoning, and Historic Boards. One more floor to go before our bird's eye view of the city. On the way, we'll examine more great portraits of Lowell's long line of political leaders. Flanking the landing windows are portraits of Frederick Greenhalgh and General Benjamin Butler. While never serving as mayors, these Lowellians played important roles in the city's and the nation's history and went on to become Massachusetts governors. Staying on the plaza side of the building, the larger corner room was used for school board hearings, while other offices were used for various school department functions. Today, the school department has offices off-site, and this entire wing is now the law department. What was once the council balcony has been converted to office space. This floor also houses the engineers' offices, perhaps the least modified space in nearly 120 years. Here, the city engineer and her staff maintain and update surveys, plans, and maps of the city streets, properties, underground utilities, and buildings. The office is a division of the Public Works Department and provides information and permits for street openings and new utility connections. They also manage street and sidewalk repair and repaving projects. Next door is the Purchasing Department, which handles all city bidding and procurement for projects, services, and supplies. Well, that wraps up our tour of City Hall's functional floors, but there are a couple of intriguing spaces left to explore: the attic and the clock tower.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
While most of the attic is unfinished and used for storage and utilities such as new AC systems, there are a couple of finished rooms that were once satellite offices for various departments. Just up these stairs and behind that door is the dizzying spiral staircase that leads to the clock tower and a panoramic view of the city. It's well worth the climb. Now, before we make the final climb to scan the city, we'll take a breather and learn more about the clock mechanism. The tower clock was built by the Seth Thomas Clock Company of New York, and one of its 4 faces can be seen from almost every corner of the city. And now, the final push to the top. Here, 180 feet above the city, we can take in a 360-degree view of Lowell and the towns beyond. At the time, this was the highest point in the region, and workers must have been awestruck as they positioned the final pieces of granite and scanned the surrounding countryside. A marvelous view.
Wow, it's great to be back on the ground. We hope you enjoyed your tour of Lowell City Hall and this second episode of Key to the City. We look forward to bringing you more installments in the coming months, exploring Lowell's critical services, its special events, and the intriguing aspects of Lowell's operations. Until then, log on to lowellma.gov for more information about the City of Lowell. Alive, unique, inspiring.